Okay, so very good evening everybody. I am CS Supreet Agrawal. I am an XCY India, Ex-KPMG Bahrain and an India Book of Records holder. I teach ACCA AA and AAA subjects. My friends, whenever I have worked with audit and assurance domain only, and all of my experience is into audit and assurance only. And I am going to use that experience to make this subject, which is AAA, very fun and a learning experience for all of you. My friends, before starting with this session, I have a very important question to ask you. If I ask you today that whether AAA, which is Advanced Audit and Assurance, is a theoretical subject or a practical subject, what would be your answer? What would be your answer? Tell me. What would be your answer? Is it a theoretical subject or a practical subject? What do you say? Is it a theoretical subject or a practical subject? Tell me. What do you feel? Is it a theoretical subject or a practical subject? So I would say that most of you, almost 90% plus of you would answer that audit is a very theoretical subject, right? But I have a very different view towards it, and I'll try to explain you that. So I have one line that I say for audit, okay? That is, audit is the most practical subject written in the most theoretical manner. I'll repeat. Audit is the most practical subject written in the most theoretical manner. Now, why do I say that? You know why I'm saying this? Because whenever you study any of the auditing provisions, anything that we study here, okay, and you go into the real life, you will mostly find that that particular concept is applied 100% according to what we have studied in the class. There are generally no assumptions, no adjustments. Whatever we study over here, we can say that would be 100% word by word would be applicable in the real life, and that makes audit a very interesting subject for all of us. Okay, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to use all of my practical experience of EY and KPMG, and since I have teaching experience of AA and AAA for multiple years, I'm going to use all of the teaching experience as well to make this subject a very fun and learning experience for all of you. Okay, but before we move further, we need to be very sure about one thing, that audit is not a theoretical subject. Audit is a very practical subject. What you need to do from your end, you need to understand it from a practical point of view. Whenever we would be solving any questions, we would be discussing about any concepts, you need to make sure that you are trying to get into the shoes of the auditor and then trying to frame your judgment. Okay, now let's go to the discussion that what all points we are going to cover today for Advanced Audit and Assurance. Okay, so first thing that is very important for all of us to understand is that we are going to cover the advanced audit and assurance, but we are going to cover the international syllabus. Okay, so whatever discussions we are going to do here, it is for the international syllabus. Okay, now what are the objectives of this paper? Have I written this objective? No, this objective is given by the ACCA body only on their official website. Okay, but before that, I would like to tell you that what all points we are going to cover today. So we are going to start with the objectives, then I'm going to give you a personal recommendation over here. Then we are going to go for the exam format, that what is the exact exam format of AAA paper, AAA paper. Okay, then we are going to go for how you need to step up from AA to AAA. Now here I would include an additional discussion that if you have not studied AA, then what you need to do, and if you have already studied AA, then what you need to do. Okay, then we are going to go for the core discussion, which is the syllabus, that what is the syllabus of AAA and how we are going to cover it. Okay, then we are going to go for certain useful tips from the ACCA examining team. Is it publicly available? Yes. We are going to understand that how this thing helps us in our preparation of AAA subject. Then we are going to go for a very important discussion of technical articles, that whether technical articles are important for our syllabus, how we will cover it, what is the importance of technical articles, and how we need to discuss that how do we need to cover it in our syllabus and how do we prepare it for the examination. Then we are going to go for a discussion on pass percentages and why are these pass percentages so low, and then answering the question, and then we will be discussing about the batch details. Okay, that is going to be a core discussion for today in this part. Okay, I hope that is clear. Okay, I hope no questions so far. I hope there are no questions so far. Okay, now let's move further. Okay, let's move further. So if you face that there's any trouble on audio or video, please let me know in the chat box. Okay, now objective. What is the objective? Let's try to understand it. So the objective is analyze. Okay, not just understand, analyze, evaluate. We need to focus on the words analyze, evaluate, and conclude. What is the meaning of these three words? When I say analyze, so analyze here means that you have to look for the overall thing that affects it. For example, if I say I have given you a situation, so you need to see what are the regulatory frameworks over it that affects this particular situation. So analyze, evaluate what could be the possible outcomes of it, what could be the effects of it, and how do we need to frame our judgment, and conclude. Then you have to select one option, and in this particular case, because of this evaluation, we are selecting this option. So analyze, evaluate, and conclude on the assurance engagement. Now what are assurance engagements? So I'll just give you a brief, although you might have studied it in AA also, but I'll just give you a definition of what are assurance engagement. So assurance engagements are generally those engagement where a practitioner, generally an auditor, evaluates a subject matter, generally the financial statements, against certain criteria, which are the regulatory frameworks given by, not the criteria, the financial statements, the subject matter given by whom? The responsible party, which is generally the client or the management, and collects evidence and frames their conclusion. That is the overall definition of assurance engagement. I hope you must be remembering it from your AA syllabus. Just in case not, do not worry about it, because we will again cover it in our regular classes, not an issue. Okay, and other audit and assurance issues in the context of best practice and current developments. That is, you do not just need to mug up that these are the pointers, these are the requirements, and in this particular case you need to do this. No, you also have to evaluate the best practices. When I say best practices, a little professional judgment would also be involved over here, that in a particular scenario what could be a practice, what could be a best practice in the given scenario. Okay, and current developments, this becomes little part of our syllabus also, so we will try to understand it. Now a big recommendation here. See, AAA questions will include certain portions from your SBR syllabus, also some part of FR also. Okay, so it would be highly recommended that either you study AAA after studying SBR, after passing SBR, after completing SBR, or you do it together. Okay, generally it is not recommended that you go for AAA without doing SBR first. So generally it is recommended that what you need to follow here, that you need to complete SBR. Even if not passing, at least you have studied, you have gained all the concepts, you are sure about it. SBR, then you have to go for AAA. Okay, or what you can do is you can go for both of them together, SBR and AAA. Okay, AAA is an optional subject. We will also cover in this discussion that who should select AAA and why you should select AAA as your optional subject. Okay, now let's go for the most important discussion, which is the exam format. This is very, very important. So the exam format is 3-hour 15-minute exam. First thing that you need to understand is it is a 3-hour 15-minute exam. 3-hour 15 minutes exam. Okay, there are two sections. All questions are compulsory. Sir, what is the meaning, what is the significance of writing this line, all questions are compulsory? Definitely all questions would be compulsory. No, nothing like it. See, what happens is, in a lot of professional examination, there are certain questions which are given as choice. That is, you can select say 4 out of 5, you can select 5 out of 6, and that is why it is clearly mentioned over here that what you need to do is you need to understand that all questions are compulsory. Okay, now section A, section B. So two sections are there, section A and section B. Generally section A is a 50-mark case study. And generally in section B there are two questions of 25 marks each. That makes it 100 marks. Okay, so first question is of 50 marks. Okay, will there be just one requirement with 50 marks? No, there are generally 4 to 5 requirements, sometimes 3, sometimes 6. So there are generally multiple requirements when you say this would be a case study of 50 marks. Okay, so I'll explain it. Say this 50 marks has A, B, C and D. Okay, can it happen that this one is of 20, then this one is of 10, 10, 10? Generally yes, but you need to understand that this will also have some professional skills that we are going to discuss just after this discussion. Okay, I'll also try to put up a time stamp on this video so that you can understand it in a little better way. Okay, so now A, B, C and D. Okay, So now, can this happen that 20, 10, 10, 10 is there? Yes, it could happen. Can it happen that there is 20, 20, 10? Yes, it could happen. Okay. So I'm just talking to you about the possibility over here. But is it sure that all of these requirements would be interrelated? No. It might happen that all of these requirements are not interrelated. These are independent requirements. Can it happen that these might be interrelated? Yes, these might be interrelated also, because it is a 50-mark case study. It could ask you to identify the risk, then the controls, then the evaluation, and then the reporting also. Now, section B, 2 questions, each of 25 marks, each of 25 marks. But my friends, out of this total 100 marks, 20 marks are given for professional skills. Now what are those professional skills? So see, these are those professional skills. Professional skill marks, total of 20 professional skill marks, total of 20 professional skill marks. Will it happen that there would be a separate question on professional skills and you will write it? No. It would be evaluated as part of your general answers. How? What are these 4 professional skills? So first is analysis and evaluation. Although we will have a good discussion about how do we need to answer this question, or how do we need to gain marks for this skill. But when I say analysis and evaluation, what you need to do? You need to get the details from all the frameworks, that whatever you are doing, you have to compare it with you have to place it against all the relevant frameworks, and you have to see whatever you are doing, you have properly analyzed and evaluated it. Commercial acumen, whatever solutions you are given, whether they are making business sense or not, these might be viable, but whether they are making business sense or not, commercial acumen. Then communication, that is how well you have articulated, how well you have drafted your answer. Is your answer communicating the same thing that you are trying to communicate? If yes, you will gain these marks. And professional skepticism and professional judgment. See, this is a very important concept for the audit. I would say the fundamental concept of audit is professional skepticism. When I say professional skepticism, what do I mean by it? That I should have a questioning mind. I should be able to critically examine the evidences, and I should be able to be alert towards situation that might pose a possible misstatement, right? So I should have professional skepticism, that is, I should be able to raise the right questions, I should be able to identify the right risk, I should be able to evaluate the evidences appropriately. So that is known as professional skills. And professional judgment, as in your judgment should be based on your experience, knowledge, and all the technical and ethical standards that are available. Okay, so that's how you gain the professional skills marks. That is, whatever you are answering, that should be appropriate for these 4 skills. That is, you have analyzed and evaluated the facts, your answers are making business sense, commercial sense, and then your answer is communicated well, and then you have raised the right questions, right risk, and right responses. Now, one of the most important questions here is, how do we step up from AA and AAA? See, my friends, a lot of times you will see that a lot of people say that AAA is nothing but just the advanced version of AA. AAA is nothing but just the advanced version of AA. Is it true? Is it true? Let me write it. AAA is just the advanced version of AA, nothing else. Is it true? No, big no. Why no? Why no? Because there is a public document available on the ACCA website. You can go and verify it by the name of examinable documents, and you will see that there is a clear guideline. There is a clear guideline on what would be evaluated under AA, what are the objectives of AA, and what points would be evaluated under AAA, what are the objectives of AAA. Okay. Now, I will also be creating a separate video on that, so that there is more clarity, and I would be uploading it on my YouTube channel, which is ACCA with CA Supreet Agrawal. Please go subscribe this channel so that you can watch that and understand it well. Okay. Now, stepping up from AA to AAA. Stepping up from AA to AAA. So, solid technical knowledge is required. When I say solid technical knowledge, do you need to mug up everything from AA and then come to AAA? No. When I say technical knowledge, you should know that when to refer about what scenario. For example, if I raise a question on going concern, so you should know that what standards you have already studied in AA or any of your professional qualification. If you have claimed the exemption for AA, then you should have strong knowledge of the basic auditing standards, the basic audit workflow. Okay. My friends, my recommendation would be that if you have studied it in some other professional courses, okay, the audit, the IFRS, the ISS, if you have studied in any other professional courses, it's good, okay. Or if you have studied something which is almost replica of it, or maybe somewhat related to it, then also it's fine. But if you have not studied it, if you are not sure about it, then I would suggest that do not claim exemption for AA even if it is available to you, okay? Because that is very important for you to understand that to study AAA you need some basic knowledge of AA, okay? Although we try in our classes that we will be covering everything from basics, okay, but not the AA syllabus. Whatever is required for your AAA part we will cover from basics, very basic, so that you do not feel the gap over there. Then application of the technical knowledge to the scenario, that is you should not just be aware of the technical articles, technical scenarios, technical standards. You should be able to apply it appropriately to your given scenario. Then professional skills marks, you should know how to gain professional skills marks. Am I going to help you to understand how to gain professional skill marks? Yes, I am going to give you a lot of questions. We are going to solve a lot of questions in the classes where you will try to understand that, or where you will be able to understand that how to gain professional skills. You know, a lot of times it might happen that I will give you certain answers for the writing purpose, and after you write it, the answer is appropriate, still we will not give full marks to it. And then you will ask why. In fact, the marks that would be deducted would be 5 marks, 10 marks, 15 marks, that level of marks, okay? And then you will be asking why. And then I will be answering you because you have given a solution, but you have not given a solution which is viable for the business, which is making sense, business which is commercially acumen, which is driven through commercial acumen. So that is why you are not getting this marks. This is very important for you to understand, okay? Now, what are the syllabus differences between AA and AAA? So you need to understand that what are the syllabus differences and how we will cover it. We will create a separate video on that where we would be talking about, and we will be uploading it on YouTube, and we will be talking about that what are the syllabus difference between AA and AAA using that exam level documents. Also, when we will be moving towards our live classes, we will be covering it. When are going to be our live classes? So our live classes, although this is an orientation session for the class only, but the official live classes would be starting from the upcoming Saturday, okay? Upcoming Saturday. So our first class would be on upcoming Saturday, second class would be on Sunday, okay? The timings are from 9 AM to 1 PM. The 9 AM from 9 AM to 1 PM, so that we are able to solve everything, we are going to understand everything. How you can attend these classes? So our first few lectures would be available freely on YouTube, so that you can come and you can attend the session. Please stay tuned with us for the more updates, okay? So we will be offering first few classes on YouTube so that you can understand everything, okay? Now exam format, style and requirements, is it same AA, AAA? No. The exam requirements and everything is different, okay? See, there are 3 intellectual levels identified by ACCA body. Level 1 is knowledge and comprehension of something. Level 2 is application and analysis. Level 3 is synthesis and evaluation. When I say knowledge and comprehension, you should be aware about that there is one standard which says this. Level 2 application and analysis, you should be able to apply it to a given scenario. But when I go for number 3, synthesis and evaluation, you have to evaluate the requirements given the current scenario, and you have to make it sure that whatever you are doing, you have 100% evaluated it, and that makes a professional judgment of you. AA focuses majorly on skills 1 and 2, level 1 and 2, which is knowledge and comprehension and application and analysis. Whereas when you talk about the AAA paper, the AAA paper focuses majorly on level 2 and 3, which is application and analysis and synthesis and evaluation. That is how we need to understand it, okay? And that is the crystal clarity that we need to clear our exam, to prepare for our exam, that what exactly is required by the examiner. Because we will also be solving, or we will also be understanding a lot of examiner reports on our YouTube channel. Which YouTube channel? This YouTube channel. We will be discussing about each one of them for AAA subject I am talking about, okay? So we will be understanding about each one of them, that what are the examiner comments, what are the examiner reports saying, so that we can score well in a AAA paper, okay? We should be knowledgeable about all of these things which are publicly available. And ability to have an independent opinion backed by reasonable judgment. Now, what is the meaning of it? Let's try to evaluate. An ability to have an independent opinion. When I say independent opinion, that is you should be able to frame your own judgments. You should be able to frame your own professional judgments here, backed by reasoned argument. That is, your judgment should not be just like I felt like it, so I did it. No, this should be based on reasoned argument, reasoned judgments also, okay? Now, the syllabus part. I hope this is clear. If there are any questions, please feel free to let me know in the chat box. If there are any questions, please feel free to let me know in the chat box. I hope this is clear. Yes. Okay. Now let's focus on the syllabus. Now let's focus on the syllabus. Okay, what is the syllabus of AAA? And believe me guys, this syllabus is so interesting, so interesting. Again, if you repeat my line that ACCA is the most AAA or audit in general is the most practical subject written in the most theoretical manner. If you keep this line in your head, the syllabus is going to be very interesting, very amazing, and very learning experience for all of you, because the syllabus is created in such a way that I actually love the syllabus here. Okay, now the syllabus is divided into multiple sections. The first section is of regulatory environment. But when I say sections, do I mean chapters? No, there are chapters under these sections. So first of all, let us discuss about the sections. So section 1 is regulatory environment. Section 2 is professional and ethical considerations. That is section 2. Section 3 is quality management. Section 4 is planning and conducting an audit of historical financial information. Section next is completion, review and reporting. Then there is other assignments, and then finally current issues and developments, professional skills and employability and technology skills. That is something that we are going to understand. But before that, let's try to go into each one of them and read what are the chapter names. So the first thing is International Regulatory Frameworks for Audit and Assurance Services. That is how different bodies, how different regulatory frameworks affects the auditing profession. We are going to study under this. Then second is going to be money laundering. So it is not fully audit. Okay, in case of AAA, you will get to know a lot of other topics also. So one such topic is money laundering. Is it tested in exam? Yes, it is tested big time. It is one of the most favorite questions. So what is money laundering? What are the offenses or everything? Then laws and regulations. What laws and regulations are there which we need to comply with while we are in the auditing profession? Then professional and ethical consideration. Although you might be aware of the code of ethics that is available over here, the code of ethics, the 5 fundamental principles of ethics, the threats and everything, you might be aware about it, but again it is going to be covered over here in a little advanced manner. Fraud and error. Although some part of fraud is covered in AA also, but here we will be discussing about the professional liabilities of the auditor along with the fraud and error. That is, what are the professional liabilities, what are the professional obligations of the auditor when there is a fraud, what are the standards that are made for fraud, and what type of professional judgment is expected from an auditor while there is an incidence of fraud or error. Then quality management. Now this quality management is something that is very different and very amazing. I will tell you why. See, whenever you try to obtain any professional assignment, okay, if it is, say for example for us, okay, I am a teacher. If any student comes to me, I do not have any ethical or professional obligations. What I can do is, if a student wants to enroll with me, I can directly enroll. But when we talk about professional works, right, for example as a chartered accountant, for example as an ACCA, before obtaining the professional assignment, there are certain quality management procedures that we need to do. There are certain ethical obligations that we need to abide by. I am talking about the ethical obligation given by regulatory frameworks. So we need to abide by, we need to follow a particular process. So we will be studying all of that under quality management. There are multiple standards which are created, ISQM 1, ISQM 2. We will be discussing under that. But the chapter is going to be like quality management for the firm level or the engagement level. There would be certain policies regarding how do we advertise our services, can we tender, can we obtain professional work, what should be the fees, or everything should be determined over here, and professional appointments, as in how do we get appointed professionally for any client work. Okay, now planning and conducting an audit of historical financial information. This is where the syllabus gets very interesting, and I will tell you, whenever you see the first question of 50 marks, okay, majorly you will end up seeing that all of these questions would majorly be from this part only: planning and conducting an audit of financial statements. How do we plan the audit? How do we execute the audit? What would be certain challenges? What would be certain opinions that we need to take? And that is why the syllabus gets very interesting here. Planning, materiality and assessing the risk of material misstatements, evidence and testing considerations, audit procedures and obtaining evidences, all of these which you already might have the basics from the AA. Using the work of others. Now this is something that is specifically given in AAA syllabus, not AA syllabus. Then group audits, as in it is given but in a very low manner, but here it is technically given. Then group audits. Group audit is also something which is specific to the AAA syllabus. Then you will move towards completion, review and reporting. Once you have executed all the tasks, then what you need to do is you need to move towards the what you need to do is you need to move towards the completion, review and reporting. You have already studied some part of it in AA, but even if you have not studied, we are going to cover our first lecture with the basics of audit and everything, so it is going to be very interesting for you. Now, subsequent events and going concern. Subsequent events and going concern. Subsequent events and going concern. Subsequent event is something that you might be already aware if you have studied IFRS under FR or SBR. Subsequent event is something which would be a very comfortable term for you. Going concern is the basic principle of audit, right? Basic principle of accounting. So there's a separate auditing standard which has been created for going concern. So that is also covered over here. Then completion and final review. Completion and final review, that is how do you conclude the audit. Then auditor's report, how do we form the audit report, what could be types of opinions, everything would be covered over here. And reports to those charged with governance and management, what type of report is given, will it be only internal control report or it would be the full report, when we need to communicate, everything would be covered over here. Then other assignments. Now this other assignment is something that might not be directly tested as a separate question, but this might form part of the question. For example, we have discussed that 50 marks question could have separate questions of 10 marks. So one of the 10 marks question could be this one also. Now audit related and assurance services, that is they are not talking particularly about the audit, they are talking about related services, they are talking about assurance. So there would be separate standards, ISREs and all that we have to understand, ISAEs, ISREs. Then specific assignments, there would be certain specific assignments that we have to study. Say there could be due diligence, there could be audit of prospective financial information and all. The audit of performance information, predetermined objectives in public sector, this is a very specific assignment. Reporting on other assignments could be any other assignments. The assurance of sustainability information, now this is something which might be a new topic for all of you, and this is going to be very interesting also, although not much tested in the examination, but you can find some questions on it of 5 to 10 marks. Then current issues, professional skills and employability and technology skills, is it going to be tested directly as a separate question? No, these are going to be made part of your bigger question. Say 50 marks question could have one part of 2, 3 marks, 5 marks, 10 marks which could be related to this. So current issues and developments, professional and ethical developments, developments in sustainability assurance, other current issues. Professional skills we have already discussed. Then employability and technology skills, use computer technology to efficiently access and manipulate relevant information, work on relevant response options using available functions and technology as required. This is very important. I hope this must be clear. If there are any questions, please feel free to let me know in the chat box. If there are any questions, please feel free to let me know in the chat box. I'm waiting for 3-4 seconds because there might be a little 3-4 seconds lag between when I say and when you listen. So yes, I'm waiting for 2-3 seconds. Please tell me. Yes. Okay, I hope there are no questions. I hope there are no questions as of now. Okay, now certain useful tips from the ACCA examining committee. Certain useful tips from the ACCA examining committee. Is it given by me? Is it mentioned by me? No, it is available on the ACCA website also. I have written it over here so that it is easier for you to understand, to set clear expectation what you should do, okay, and what is expected of you. So first thing is that you need to read the question carefully. See, just saying that ACCA AAA has the lowest passing percentage is not enough. You need to understand the reasons why it has lowest passing percentages. For example, in my experience, I'll tell you, I have seen that students generally do not attend the live classes, okay, and when they see it in the recorded mode, they might okay, do what? They might just scroll through, or they might forward the lectures, or they might see it in 1.75, or they might scroll. I'll tell you one thing. What happens is, in case of audit, whatever mode you opt for, what you need to do is you need to understand the discussion. You need to understand the discussion. When I say discussion, it's not just when I am speaking, it's just when some doubt is being discussed. It's just when some example is being given and there's a time given to you to think about it. You need to actually pause the lecture. You need to actually think about it so that you get into the shoes of the auditor and try to make a judgment. It should not happen that you are only listening and then trying to solve the question. Then you will face very major difficulty. What you should ideally do is you should try to understand the concepts and then you should move forward, okay, with the questions. So read the question carefully and be familiar with different types of questions. That is, you need to not just solve the question, you need to understand that in what topic what kind of questions could be done. How I will help you, I'll let you know at the end when we will be discussing about the batch details. But I can assure you one thing, that almost after every one class of concepts, we'll have 1 or 2 classes of question solving. So a lot of time would be spent on question solving, and I would be expecting that you join these sessions on a live mode. Even if you want to see the concept lectures in the recording mode, I understand, but when we will be solving the questions, you need to be present in the session. Although I will 100% request that concept lecture should also be seen in the live mode, but at least the question solving part should be done in the live mode, so that you can discuss what issue you are facing. You can get into the shoes of the auditor as the student and try to understand that what logics are being taken care of. Okay, now give specific answers rather than generalized ones. That I actually love that they have written over here, because in all of the mock test I also see, I personally evaluate the mock test, and I also see that students give generalized answer. When I say generalized answer, what do I mean by it? Generalized answer as in they'll say that auditor should do the appropriate testing. Now what do we mean by it? We are not studying about any of the normal courses, or we are not discussing about, say, from the basic point of view. We are studying AAA, so we should have the expert knowledge of it. What do we mean by appropriate? Generally, unless it is given by certain standards, we are not supposed to use the appropriate. We need to tell them that what exactly needs to be done by the auditor, okay, in our professional judgment, and that is why it becomes really important for us to understand it. Okay, give a specific answer rather than general ones. Then refer examinable documents for exam. This is very important. Refer examinable documents, as in there should be a clear understanding in your mind that what is tested in AA, what is tested in AAA. Are we going to cover it? Yes. Are we going to cover it as part of official class? Yes. Are we going to cover it on YouTube? Yes, we are going to cover it. Okay. Now ensure that the proposed audit procedures meet the assertion being tested. That is, whatever procedures you are suggesting that we should do this, auditor should do this, auditor should do this, auditor should do this, they should be meeting the assertion being tested. Now what are assertions are just like the criteria, right? You must be aware about it from your AA knowledge. But when I say assertions, what should happen is that you should give the audit procedures according to the assertion. It should not happen that you are suggesting an audit procedure, the question is asking you to suggest the audit procedure for the completeness, and what solution you are giving, the audit procedure that you are mentioning, that is for the valuation assertion. It should not happen. Okay, the assertion should be answered appropriately. It should be very, very specific. Then don't just list the issues, but also explain why you think it is an issue. Yes, this happens, and this happens majorly in the questions related to, say, businesses. So there's a case study which is given, and in that case study you are required to, say, identify the business risk, right? Now students do what? They just list, they create the bullet points, and they say that these are 10 risks that are there. But ACCA also wants to know from you that why do you think it is a risk? Why do you think? It's not just that you have identified the risk and it's done. No, they sometimes do not need identification from you. They need analysis and evaluation. That is why it is important that you write your reasons also why you think it is a business risk. Then keep track on time and try not to overrun too much. See, what happens is, I'll not generally give you that calculation that for each marks you have this many minutes. No, generally not. Or in a case of audit, it becomes a little difficult. But what I'll tell you is that you should have the total marks available for each question, because there are only 3 questions, right? So say you have given 98 minutes, okay, 90 to 98 minutes to a 50 marks case history. Now try that you do not overrun it as much as possible, as in from 90 minutes to, say, 92 minutes is fine, yes, 95 minutes is fine, yes, but you should be able to cover it in the next part of the paper, which is section B. Similarly, vice versa. Okay, then revise, practice, refer examiner reports, and review your performance. In this particular case, I would be able to help you a lot, because when we will be studying, we will not just finish up the syllabus and be done with it. We will also revise. Okay, we will also post a lot of revision videos. We'll offer you a lot of revisions. We'll offer you practice sessions, and we will be offering practice sessions as part of our course structure also, so that you are able to feel confident till the time you move to the exam. And please try to understand that what I will need from you, I will need your attendance, I will need your presence, and I will need you to do the homework on time. And that is why we have kept the sessions on weekends only, okay, so that you can appropriately devote your timings and we can discuss on that. Okay, now technical articles. Are technical articles important? Are technical articles important? Is it like technical articles are important? So yes, technical articles are very, very important. Okay, it is given for all parts of the syllabus. Okay, for all sections of the syllabus, it is given for all sections of the syllabus. See, I'll not name each one of them, otherwise that would be a very big discussion and a monotonous one. So I'll not repeat each one of the technical articles, but I have mentioned over here that what are the technical articles that are covered in your syllabus. So where you will find these? You will find this in ACCA Global website, and these are the specific technical articles. So to name few, in case of regulatory environment, there is corporate governance and its impact on audit practice. There is laws and regulations. In case of professional and ethical consideration, there is ethics in the AAA examination, auditor liability, and massaging the figures. These things are there that we need to understand. Quality management. Okay, international standards on quality management, part 1 and 2. International standards on quality management related to ISQM 2 and ISA 220. Then planning and conducting an audit of historical financial statements. So here the audit of less complex entity. How do we do the audit of less complex entity? Will these be directly asked in the examination? Chances are very low. But when you answer your other questions, you might need certain references from this, and this actually helps you to gain marks. So I'll strongly recommend that whenever you get time, you should read these technical articles, and if possible, create the notes for them also. Are we going to cover it? We are going to read some of the important ones, not all. Okay. Approach to section A, questions in AAA exams, exam techniques. Then there is completion, review and reporting related, so evaluation of misstatements, completing the audit, going concern, auditors reports to those charged with governance, examining evidences, etc. Then current issues and multiple areas. In case of multiple areas, there is a strong one which is data analytics and the auditor. I'll just take 1 second. Thank you. See, what happens is generally we end up asking that what is the importance of data analytics, what is the importance of AI in the assurance domain, in the profession domain, in the finance domain. But I'll tell you, this article is particularly focused towards data analytics, and this is really important because there might be certain answers that might ask a basic knowledge about data analytics and the finance profession and the auditor profession. So you should have knowledge of this. Professional skepticism, as we discussed earlier, professional skepticism is the ability to have a questioning mind, to critically evaluate the evidences, and to identify the risk that might pose a possible misstatement. So being alert towards those risks. So these are certain technical articles that are going to help you to identify and write the appropriate risk over here. Okay, now I'll tell you what might happen here. When you say passing percentage is this low, 40, 39, 39, 38, 37, first of all, is it low? No, I think if you compare it with multiple other professional examinations, it is equally fair. Okay, it is not low. But even if you think that it is low, I'll tell you the reasons why it is low. Okay, I'll tell you the reasons why this passing percentage seems low. Number 1, generalized answer. This is the biggest reason, in my opinion, generalized answer. Second, less question practice. That is, students do not practice questions themselves. Number 3 reason is less understanding of core concepts. Number 4 is unable to navigate. When I say unable to navigate, what do I mean by it? See, I'll tell you honestly. When I say this word navigate, this means that whenever there's a question thrown at you, you should be able to identify that from which part of the syllabus this question belongs to, right? You should be able to identify which part of the syllabus this question belongs to. If you are not able to identify that, then it is a very big issue. So that is why I'll say unable to navigate. And believe me, we are going to have a lot of mind mapping sessions where we are going to discuss about how do we relate these sessions, how do we conduct these sessions. Okay, how do we relate these chapters, how do we conduct these chapters in such a way, how do we mind map it so that we are able to navigate to the appropriate level. See, in case of AAA, if you just move to the appropriate part of the syllabus, half of your battle is won. Now the other half purely depends on that whether you are able to remember and whether you are able to articulate your answer or not. Okay, now answering the question. See, I'll not explain it right now. Okay, I'll create a separate video on this maybe so that you will be able to understand it well. But I'll just tell you, these might be certain requirements that might be mentioned in your answers, and what a student does is that they have the similar answer for each one of them. Say, if I ask them compare and if I ask them evaluate, they might end up writing the same answer, and that is where they lose marks. See, what could be certain requirements? I'll tell you. Analyze, apply, assess. So at the end of the question, they might say apply, they might say assess, they might say evaluate, they might say calculate, they might say comment, they might say compare, they might say conclusion, they might say conclusion as in conclude, they might say criticize, they might say define, they might say describe, discuss, evaluate, explain, illustrate, interpret, list, outline, prepare, recommend, relate, state, summarize. See, all of these will have separate requirements, separate discussions, and it would be a big discussion. So I won't be doing it right now. I would be creating a separate video on that. Okay. However, I'll tell you one thing. Just to give you an example, if I say list, okay, what I need to do, I just need to mention the points. I just need to mention the points, and that's it. Once I have mentioned the points, it's done. Once I have mentioned the points, it's done. Okay. But if there is criticize, then I need to focus on negative points. If there is compare, then I need to do what? In case of compare as well as discuss, I need to compare two things. In case of compare, I need to compare two things. In case of discuss, I need to write the pros and cons as well. So there is a separate setting for each one of them, separate guidance, separate level of preparation, separate answer writing practice that needs to be done for all of them. So we will be doing that. Okay. And then finally we come to the most important part of our discussion today, which is the batch details. My friends, when I say I am going to launch a batch on AAA, what you need to understand here is that we have divided our lectures into two parts. Number one is concept lectures, and number two are question practice sessions. Which one of them would be more important for us to attend in live mode, sir? Both of them. Why so? Because we have not divided in it for the purpose of our comfort. We have divided it because that is what is required to prepare well for your AAA paper. How? I'll tell you how. Okay. See, the concept lectures are going to be conducted in live mode. When are they going to be conducted? They are going to be conducted every weekend, which is Saturday and Sunday from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Every Saturday, Sunday, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. as per Indian Standard Time, and they are going to be conducted in English. Now, let me explain you what are question practice sessions. So see, out of these sessions on weekends, there would be a lot of sessions that would be on question practice, where we would be taking the questions and we would be practicing in the live class. Generally, these questions would be of the concepts that we have covered in the earlier classes. Okay. We will spend a lot of time solving questions for the planning stage, because that is what is asked generally in the 50 marks exam. That is why it is very, very important that we need to understand that what part of the syllabus is very much worthy, and we need to solve a lot of questions on that. Will we cover all parts of the syllabus? Yes. But will we focus on major parts? Yes. So that is why it is important that you attend these sessions, you do the practice with me during the session, so that we are able to understand that where we went wrong. See, what happens is, if you see that in recorded mode, you might end up having queries, and I'll be there to resolve your queries. But in the live class, I would be giving you fixed time. Let's say in 10 minutes, please identify this, please try to understand this, and that makes the exercise very, very better. So the question practice sessions are also going to be conducted in live mode. They are also going to be in English. They are also going to be included in the regular classes, that is Saturday, Sunday. So one class could be of concept, one class or two classes could be of question practice. Same timings, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. We are going to cover case studies as well as case scenarios. Where are these case studies and case scenarios are going to be from? They are going to be from ACCA Study Hub. They are going to be from past exams, some publishers. They are going to be from every area, so that you are able to understand it well. Okay. Will recorded backup be provided to us? Yes, recorded backup would be provided to you, but I would say that please use it as a backup and not as the front foot of your classes. Okay, that will help you to clear AAA in one go. Now, query and doubt support. How I will be able to resolve your queries? So I will be able to resolve it during the live sessions, or I would be taking it on the app only. Generally, I take almost the same day. I revert on the same day, but just in case of delay, I would be reverting you within 24 hours. Mock test. There are going to be total 6 mock tests. 3 of them are going to be unit tests, where we are going to cover some part of the syllabus, and 3 of them are going to be full syllabus test. Are they going to be with evaluation? Yes. Who will evaluate it? I will evaluate it. Okay. Now, what will you get? Most important question, right? So you will get soft copy of handwritten summary notes. When I say handwritten summary notes, this is the exact format that you are going to get. This is the exact format that you are going to get for your syllabus. Okay, soft copy of handwritten summary notes, soft copy of question bank. So whatever questions we solve in the class, you will also get the soft copy of it. Class board notes, are they important? Yes, very, very important. See, we have made certain notes over here, right? See, we have made certain extra remarks over here. Would you like to understand that would you like to get these board notes? Yes, you should get these board notes to understand every discussion in detail, because we will be taking a lot of examples, we might be having a lot of discussions which might not be generally written in the examination, which might not generally be available in the direct sessions. So that is why it is very very important for us to understand that these board notes form part of the core offerings, and you should take it, you should use it, and that will help you in your preparations also. Okay, now when are we going to start? So we are going to start from 14th. Oh my god, we have already started. Yes, we have already started. We have discussed so many things in detail, right? And we are going to conduct our first session, official ACCA AAA syllabus session on the upcoming Saturday, okay, from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. So please stay tuned, please follow my YouTube channel. Okay, the session is going to be conducted on this channel only, but you should also subscribe my YouTube channel, which is ACCA with CA Supreet Agrawal. Okay, I'll give you all my handles so that you can connect with me. Okay, now what is going to be the end date? The end date is going to be mid-November. What do I mean by mid-November? Generally 5th to 15th November would be the end date. Duration 90 hours approx. Okay, validity generally 3 months, but it could be extended to further 3 months on request. Okay, now let us discuss certain questions over here. Okay, is AAA just the advanced version? Is AAA just the advanced version of AA? My friends, big no. If you have attended this session, you have to say clear no to this question. Okay, it is not true. Okay, what will you get? So you will get summary notes, you will get question bank, you will get board notes. Now, will we solve questions in the class? Will we solve questions in the class? Yes, multiple. In fact, majorly we are going to solve a lot of questions. Okay, so that is why please try to understand that this is going to be an amazing batch for you. Okay, are you going to clear? Repeat with me, are you going to clear? Or you should say, am I going to clear? Okay, are you going to clear in December 25 or March 26? Big yes, okay. So my friends, please understand two things and you will be sorted. Number one, you should attend the classes as much as possible. Okay, if required you can see the recordings, but you should try to attend the classes as much as possible. And number two, that audit is the most practical subject written in the most theoretical manner, and I would like to take on your questions. But before that, after every lecture you have to tell me this, that sir, say got it for audit. Okay, because that is going to be our tagline for the whole lectures. That is, we should always be able to say got it for audit. Okay, I hope there are no questions. If yes, please feel free to let me know. Yes, if there are any questions, please feel free to let me know. Okay, I hope there are no questions. Okay, so thank you so much, hoping to see you all in the session. But before going, I would like to give you certain major insights. Okay, so if you want to connect with me, how you can connect? Okay, so on Instagram I am available by the name of ACCA with CA Supreet Agrawal. Okay, I am available on YouTube by the same name, ACCA with CA Supreet Agrawal. I am available on LinkedIn by the name of CA Supreet Agrawal. I am available on Telegram by the name of ACCA with CA Supreet Agrawal. And if you want to buy my lectures, okay, which website you should go to? You should go to www.bbvirtualsglobal.com. Okay, and I would say all the very best, hoping to see you in the sessions. Thank you.